She stood in the dirt, while two men shook hands over her head, one hand gripping whiskey, the other gripping reins. Iris Vale was 19 years old, and she'd just been traded for a horse. Not sold. Traded. Like a sack of grain or a broken plow. Her uncle didn't even look back. But the man who bought her. He did something nobody expected. He treated her like gold. Before we dive in, hit that subscribe button and stay with me till the very end, and drop a comment telling me what city you're watching from, so I can see how far this story travels. Quotes. Iris Vale had stopped crying 3 years ago. Not because the pain stopped, because tears didn't work. They didn't soften Uncle Clyde's fists when he came home drunk. Didn't put food on the table when he gambled away the money. Didn't stop him from looking at her like she was something he could cash in. So when he dragged her into Red Hollow that October morning, rope around her wrist like a dog on a leash, she didn't beg, didn't fight, just walked. "Move faster, girl." Clyde yanked the rope hard enough to burn her skin. "Got a buyer waiting, and I ain't losing this deal because you dragged your feet." Iris stumbled, caught herself. The town was waking up, shopkeepers sweeping porches, horses tied outside the saloon, men already drinking, though the sun hadn't cleared the hills. They all saw her. Some looked away fast. Some stared. One woman started toward them, then stopped when her husband grabbed her arm. Nobody helped. They never did. Clyde pulled her past the general store, past the sheriff's office. Sheriff Avery was inside. She could see him through the window, but he turned his back and toward the edge of town where a man stood beside a chestnut stallion. The horse was beautiful, strong, healthy, everything Iris wasn't. The man didn't move as they approached, just stood there, hands loose at his sides, watching. He was tall, lean, somewhere past 30, face weathered like old leather, eyes the color of storm clouds. Thorne. Clyde's voice went friendly the way it always did when he wanted something. "Told you I'd bring her, didn't I?" The man Thorne looked at Clyde, then at Iris. His expression didn't change. "She your niece?" Thorne asked. "That's right. Been taking care of her since her mama died. Fed her, housed her, kept her safe. Now it's time she earned her keep somewhere else." Thorne's jaw tightened. "That how you see it?" "That's how it is." Clyde grinned, showing brown teeth. "We got a deal or not?" Thorne was quiet for a long moment. Then he reached into his coat, pulled out a folded paper. "This covers what you claim she owes. Horse is yours." Clyde snatched the deed, unfolded. It started laughing. "Hot damn pleasure doing business, Thorne." He took the stallion's reins, swung up into the saddle. Didn't look back. Didn't say goodbye. Just rode away, whooping like he'd won a fortune. Iris stood there, rope still dangling from her wrist, watching him disappear down the road. Gone. Just like that. Thorne stared after him, something dark moving across his face. Then he turned to Iris. "What's your name?" "Iris." "Iris." He said it careful, like he was testing how it sounded. "I'm Aean Thorne. Got a farm 6 miles west of here. You'll work. You'll earn your keep, but you won't be property." He reached down, untied the rope from her wrist, let it fall in the dirt. "You want to leave, leave, right now. I won't stop you." Iris blinked. "What?" "You heard me." She looked around. At the town. At the empty plains stretching out forever. At the dirt road leading nowhere, she knew. No money, no family, nowhere to go. "If I stay..." "You work hard, you eat, you sleep under a roof. Nobody touches you, that's the deal." Iris studied his face, looking for the trap. Men didn't make deals like this. Not with women, not with girls they'd just bought. But his eyes were steady. Tired, but steady. "Why?" "Because I need help, and you need somewhere to be." That wasn't the whole truth. She could tell. But she was too tired to dig. "All right." Aean nodded once. "Let's go." 6 miles of silence. Aean rode a gray mare. Iris walked. He didn't offer to let her ride, and she didn't ask. She'd walked farther for less. The land opened up around them, flat, endless, nothing but dry grass and dust devils spinning in the distance. Hot sun, cold wind, the kind of empty that made you feel small. When they reached the farm, Iris's feet were bleeding through her worn-out boots. The house was rough-cut logs, stone chimney, shutters hanging crooked. The barn looked sturdier than the house, chicken coop to one side, garden plot behind mostly weeds. "This is it," Aean said, dismounting. "Not much." Iris didn't answer. It was more than she'd had in 3 years. She followed him into the barn. 2 horses in stalls, tools on the walls, workbench covered in wood shavings, and in the corner, half covered by a tarp, a small wooden toy, a carved horse. Iris stared at it. Aean saw where she was looking. His face went hard. "Had a boy once. Fire took him, his mother too, 3 years back." The words came out flat, empty, like he'd said them so many times they didn't mean anything anymore. Iris didn't know what to say, so she said nothing. Aean cleared his throat, turned away. "You'll sleep in the loft above the house. There's a bed, blankets. I'll bring you water." "Thank you." He stopped, looked back. "Don't thank me, just work." "All right." But she meant it anyway. Yeah. That night, Iris lay in the loft staring at the ceiling. The bed was rough but clean. The blankets smelled like lavender. Through the window, stars crowded the sky, more stars than she'd ever seen. Below, she heard Aean moving around, chair scraping, fire crackling. Footsteps. She waited. Waited for him to come upstairs. Waited for the thing she'd been expecting since Clyde grabbed her that morning. But the footsteps stopped. The house went quiet. And Iris fell asleep without fear for the first time in years. Morning came hard. "Up!" Aean's voice through the trapdoor. "Work starts now!" Iris climbed down, still wearing yesterday's clothes, the only clothes she had. Aean handed her a tin cup, steam rising off it. "Coffee." "Yeah." She took it. Bitter, hot, good. "Bread's on the table. Eat fast. We've got fences to mend, chickens to feed, well needs clearing." Iris tore into the bread dry, but she didn't care and followed him outside. The work was hard. Harder than anything Clyde had made her do. Aean didn't talk much. Just showed her once, then expected her to keep up. How to hammer a fence post without splitting the wood. How to scatter feed without spooking the chickens. How to haul water from the well without spilling half. By noon, her hands were raw. By sunset, her back was screaming. But she didn't complain, and Aean didn't go easy on her. At supper, beans and hard bread, they sat across from each other, not talking. Finally, Aean said, "You did good today." Iris looked up surprised. Yeah, you keep that up, you'll do fine here." Something warm moved through her chest, small but real. "Thank you." "Stop thanking me." "Can't help it." The corner of his mouth twitched. Almost a smile. Almost. Days blurred together. Wake, work, eat, sleep, repeat. Aean didn't talk much, but Iris learned to read him. The way he moved. The way his jaw tightened when something bothered him. The way he looked toward the horizon like he was searching for something he'd lost. She learned the rhythm of the farm. The weight of the tools. The smell of the animals. The sound of the wind at night. And slowly, so slowly, she didn't notice. At first, she stopped flinching when Aean moved too fast. One evening about a week in, Iris was fixing supper when Aean came in from the barn. He stopped in the doorway. "You hum when you cook." Iris froze spoon halfway to the pot. She hadn't realized. "Sorry." "Don't be." He hung his coat on the peg. "It's nice." She didn't know what to say, so she kept stirring. Aean sat at the table pulling off his boots. "You ever think about him, your uncle?" Iris's hand tightened on the spoon. "Every day." "You angry." "Should I be?" "You got a right." Iris turned the question over in her head. Was she angry, or was she just tired? Anger doesn't change it, she said finally. He's gone. I'm here. That's all. Aean studied her for a long moment. You're stronger than you think. Iris didn't feel strong. She felt scraped hollow. But she didn't argue. The next day, a wagon rattled up the road. Iris was in the garden pulling weeds when she heard it. She stood shading her eyes. A woman climbed down middle-aged, weathered face, kind eyes, faded green dress, wide-brimmed hat. You must be Iris. The woman smiled. I'm Mara Dune. I'm a healer. Iris wiped her hands on her skirt. Ma'am. Don't ma'am me, child. I'm not that old. Mara came closer, looking her over. Aean told me about you. He did? Asked me to stop by. Said you might need someone to talk to. Iris frowned. When did he? Last time I came through. Week before he brought you here. Mara gestured toward the porch. Mind if we sit? They sat. Mara poured tea from a flask, 2 tin cups, handed one to Iris. I'm not here to pry, Mara said gently. But I've seen a lot of girls come through Red Hollow. Girls who've been sold, traded, married off against their will. And I know that kind of thing leaves marks you can't see. Iris stared into her cup. I'm fine. Maybe. Maybe not. But you don't have to pretend with me. Something in Iris's chest cracked. I was traded for a horse, she said quietly. My uncle traded me for a damn horse. How do you come back from that? Mara reached over, squeezed her hand. You already are, girl. You're still here. You're still standing. That's not nothing. Doesn't feel like much. I know. But listen to me. Mara's voice went firm. You were traded. But you're not a debt. You're not a thing someone owns. You're a life waiting to be lived. Iris's throat went tight. Her eyes burned. But she didn't cry. She wouldn't. Thank you, she whispered. Mara smiled. Come find me if you need me. I'll be back through in a month. After Mara left, Iris sat on the porch for a long time, holding her empty cup. Aean came out, stood beside her. She help? He asked. Yeah. Good. He didn't say anything else. Just stood there with her, watching the sun go down. And for the first time since Clyde had dragged her into town, Iris felt like maybe, just maybe, she could breathe again. 2 weeks passed. Iris learned to cook. Really cook, not just boil beans. Aean taught her. Showed her how to season meat, how to bake bread that didn't turn out like rocks, how to make coffee that didn't taste like mud. They started talking more. Small things. The weather. The horses. The work that needed doing. But sometimes late at night the conversations went deeper. Why'd you buy me? Iris asked one evening, sitting by the fire. Aean was quiet for a long time. Then, because I knew what would happen if I didn't. What do you mean? Your uncle would have sold you to someone else. Someone worse. His jaw tightened. I've seen it before. Girls traded, sold, passed around like currency. Most of them don't survive it. Iris's stomach turned. And you wanted to save me? No. He looked at her. I wanted to give you a choice. That's all anyone deserves. But you didn't give me a choice. You bought me. I bought you away from him. That's different. Iris wasn't sure it was, but she didn't argue. Tell me about your son, she said instead. Aean's face went still. Why? Because you never talk about him. And I think you should. He stared at the fire for a long time. Finally. His name was Daniel. He was 5. Loved horses. Loved carving things out of wood. His voice cracked. The fire started in the middle of the night. I tried to get to them. I tried. He stopped. Couldn't finish. Iris reached over, touched his hand. You don't have to tell me. I know. But he didn't pull away. They sat there in silence, hands touching, watching the fire burn low. 3 weeks and the storm hit. It started with thunder, distant rolling, but within an hour the sky turned black, and the rain came down like God had split the heavens open. Aean ran outside to secure the barn. Iris watched from the doorway, wind whipping her hair. Get inside, he shouted. She did. But when 10 minutes passed and he didn't come back, panic grabbed her by the throat. Aean? No answer, just thunder. She grabbed her shawl and ran out into the storm. The rain was freezing. The mud sucked at her boots. Lightning split the sky, turning everything white for half a second. Aean! She found him near the barn, wrestling with a section of roof that had torn loose. He was soaked, bleeding from a cut above his eye. What the hell are you doing out here? He shouted. Looking for you. I told you to stay inside. I'm not leaving you out here. Lightning flashed. Thunder cracked so loud it hurt. Aean stared at her. This girl who'd been traded like livestock, standing in the rain, refusing to leave. You're going to get yourself killed, he said. So are you. Something in his face broke. He grabbed her arm, pulled her toward the house. They stumbled inside together, gasping, dripping water everywhere. Aean slammed the door shut. Turned to her. Don't ever do that again. Why not? Because... He stopped. His voice went rough. Because I can't lose someone else. Iris's heart kicked hard against her ribs. You won't, she said quietly. Aean pulled off his coat, wrapped it around her shoulders. It was soaked, but it was warm from his body. You're shaking. So are you. He looked at her, really looked, and for the first time Iris saw something other than grief in his eyes. Want. Fear. Hope. Iris! A crash outside. They both jumped. Aean moved to the window, looked out. Tree came down. Missed the barn by 10 feet. That was close. Too close. He turned back to her. You should get dry. There's clothes in the chest upstairs belong to my wife. They'll fit you better than those rags. Iris looked down at herself. Her dress was torn, muddy, barely holding together. You sure? Yeah. She would have wanted someone to use them. Iris nodded, climbed the ladder to the loft. The chest was in the corner. She opened it carefully like she was opening someone's grave. Inside, dresses, shawls, a pair of boots. Everything clean, folded, waiting. Iris picked up a simple blue dress, held it against herself. It fit. She changed quickly, her fingers clumsy with cold. When she came back downstairs, Aean was stoking the fire. He looked up, froze. That was hers, he said quietly. I'm sorry, I can change. No. He shook his head. It looks good on you. They stared at each other across the room. The fire crackled. The storm raged outside. And something shifted between them. Not love, not yet, but the beginning of it. That night they sat by the fire and talked until the storm passed. About Daniel, about Clyde, about the things they'd lost and the things they were afraid to hope for. And when Iris finally fell asleep in the chair, Aean carried her up to the loft and laid her in bed, pulling the blankets up to her chin. Sleep well, Iris, he whispered. He turned to go, but her hand caught his. Stay, she murmured, half asleep. Just for a minute. So he sat on the edge of the bed, holding her hand, until her breathing went slow and deep. Then he went back downstairs, stoked the fire, and sat alone in the dark. Thinking about the girl upstairs. The girl who'd been traded for a horse. The girl who'd run into a storm to find him. The girl who was starting to feel like home. Morning came quiet. Iris woke in the blue dress, blankets tucked around her. She didn't remember getting into bed. Downstairs, Aean was making coffee. Morning, he said without looking up. Morning. She climbed down, accepted the cup he handed her. They didn't talk about last night. Didn't need to, but something had changed. The silence between them wasn't empty anymore. It was full. 4 days later, a rider came. Iris was hanging laundry when she saw him, dust cloud rising in the distance, horse moving fast. Aean. He came out of the barn, saw the rider, and his face went hard. Get inside. What? Now. Iris ran for the house. Aean grabbed his shotgun from inside the door, walked out to meet the rider. The man pulled up hard, horse dancing sideways. He was young, maybe 20, wearing a deputy's badge. Thorne, the deputy said, breathing hard. Sheriff sent me. Clyde Marin's been asking around about the girl you bought. Iris's blood went cold. What's he want? Aean asked, voice flat. Says she's still his. Says the deal wasn't legal. Says he's coming to get her back. Like hell he is. Sheriff wanted me to warn you. Clyde's got men with him. 3, maybe 4. They're drunk and they're angry and they're coming this way. Aean's jaw went tight. When? Could be tonight. Could be tomorrow. But they're coming. The deputy turned his horse, started to leave, then stopped. Thorne Sheriff says he can't help you, not officially, but he also says he'd understand if you had to defend your property. She's not property. I know, but Clyde don't see it that way. The deputy kicked his horse and took off. Aean stood there for a long moment, shotgun in hand, staring at the horizon. Then he turned and walked back to the house. Iris was standing in the doorway, face white. He's coming for me, she whispered. Yeah. What do we do? Aean looked at her. Really looked. We fight. Iris's hands wouldn't stop shaking. She stood in the middle of the cabin watching Aean load his shotgun, check the rifle, lay out boxes of ammunition on the table like he was preparing for war. Because he was. How many bullets do we have? She asked, hating how small her voice sounded. Enough. Aean didn't look up. Go upstairs. Get the rifle from under the bed. Bring it down. I don't know how to shoot. You're about to learn. Iris climbed the ladder, found the rifle, heavy, cold, older than she was, and brought it down. Aean took it, checked the chamber, nodded. This was my father's. Kicks like a mule, but it's reliable. He handed it back to her. You ever held a gun before? No. All right, come here. He took her outside, set up an empty bottle on a fence post 50 feet away, showed her how to hold the rifle, how to sight down the barrel, how to breathe before she pulled the trigger. Don't jerk it. Squeeze. Slow and steady. Iris aimed, squeezed. The rifle kicked hard into her shoulder. The shot went wide and the bottle stayed exactly where it was. Again. She reloaded, aimed, fired, missed. Again. 5 shots. 6, 7. On the 8th, the bottle exploded. Aean smiled, brief, genuine. There you go. Iris's shoulder was screaming, but something fierce had woken up inside her. What if I have to shoot someone? She asked quietly. Aean's smile died. Then you shoot them. You hear me? Clyde comes through that door, you don't hesitate. You don't think. You just pull the trigger. I don't know if I can. You can. He put his hand on her shoulder. Because if you don't, he'll take you back. And I won't let that happen. Iris looked up at him. Why are you doing this? Why are you fighting for me? Because nobody fought for me when I needed it. His voice went rough. Because you deserve better than being traded like livestock. Because... He stopped, started again. Because you're not alone anymore. Her throat went tight. Aean. We should get back inside, reinforce the door, board up the windows. They spent the rest of the afternoon turning the cabin into a fortress. Aean nailed planks across the windows, leaving narrow gaps to shoot through. Moved furniture against the door. Filled buckets with water in case of fire. Iris watched him work, this man who'd bought her for a horse and was now willing to die for her. You could let me go, she said suddenly. "Tell Clyde I ran off. He'd believe you." Aean stopped hammering, turned to face her. "Is that what you want?" "No, but I don't want you to get killed because of me." "That's not your choice to make." He came closer. "You're staying. I'm fighting. That's the end of it. You're stubborn. So are you." They stared at each other. Then Iris laughed, short, sharp, almost hysterical. "This is insane. We're preparing for a gunfight over a girl who got traded for a horse." "Best horse I ever traded for," Aean said. And despite everything, Iris smiled. Night fell like a stone. They ate cold beans, straight from the can, neither of them hungry, but forcing it down anyway. Aean kept the lamps low, the shotgun across his lap, eyes on the door. Iris sat across from him, the rifle beside her, trying not to think about what was coming. "Tell me about your wife," she said, needing to hear something other than her own heartbeat. Aean was quiet for so long she thought he wouldn't answer. Then, "Her name was Sarah. Met her at a church social when I was 22. She laughed at everything, even my bad jokes." "What happened?" "In the fire." His jaw worked. "Lamp fell over in the middle of the night. By the time I woke up, the bedroom was full of smoke. I got Sarah out, went back for Daniel, but—" His voice cracked. "The roof came down. I couldn't get to him. I heard him screaming and I couldn't—" He stopped. Couldn't finish. Iris reached across the table, took his hand. "It wasn't your fault." "Feels like it was." "I know, but it wasn't." They sat there, hands clasped, not talking. Outside, the wind picked up. A coyote howled in the distance. Then horses. Aean's head snapped up. "Blow out the lamp." Iris did. The cabin went dark. Aean moved to the window, peered through the gap in the boards. Iris grabbed the rifle, her hands shaking so hard she almost dropped it. "How many?" she whispered. "4. Maybe 5. "Is it them?" "Yeah." Hoofbeats got louder, closer, then stopped. Silence. Iris's heart hammered against her ribs. She couldn't breathe, couldn't think. Then Clyde's voice cut through the dark. "Thorne, I know you're in there. Send the girl out and nobody gets hurt." Aean didn't answer. "You hear me, Thorne? That girl's mine. I sold her to you, but the deal wasn't legal. She's still my property." Iris flinched. Property. That's all she'd ever been to him. "I got 4 men with me," Clyde shouted. "You can't win this. Just send her out and we'll leave peaceful." Aean cocked his shotgun. The sound echoed in the dark cabin. "Go to hell, Marin." A pause. Then Clyde laughed, ugly mean. "All right, Thorne, your funeral." Gunfire exploded. Bullets punched through the walls, through the boarded windows, ripping splinters everywhere. Iris hit the floor, covering her head. Aean fired back, the shotgun roaring twice, then grabbed the rifle and kept shooting. "Stay down," he yelled. The gunfire stopped. Reloading. "Iris," Aean snapped. "Get to the ladder. If they breach the door, you go up, and you don't come down until I say so. I'm not leaving you. That's not a request." More gunfire. Something hit the door, splintered it. They were trying to break through. Aean fired through the gap, heard someone scream. "That's one," he shouted. Clyde's voice. "Burn them out." Iris's blood went cold. "They're going to set the house on fire." Aean's face went white. "No, no, not again." He ran to the door, started pulling the furniture away. "What are you doing?" Iris screamed. "If we stay in here, we die. We go out, we have a chance." He grabbed her arm. "When I open this door, you run for the barn. You hear me? You run and you don't look back." "I'm not. You run." He kicked the door open and charged out, shotgun blazing. Iris ran after him. The yard was chaos. Men shouting, horses screaming. muzzle flashes lighting up the dark like lightning. Aean fired, fired again. Someone went down. Iris ran for the barn rifle clutched to her chest. Behind her she heard Clyde screaming, "Get the girl! Don't let her get away!" Footsteps pounding after her. She spun, raised the rifle, fired blind. The man chasing her stumbled, fell, didn't get up. Iris stared at him, at the blood spreading across his chest, at what she'd just done. She'd killed someone. "Iris, move!" Aean's voice snapped her back. She ran into the barn, slammed the door, shoved a beam across it. Outside, the gunfight raged, then silence. Iris pressed her ear to the door, listening. Nothing. "Aean," she called. "Aean." No answer. Panic clawed at her throat. She lifted the beam, cracked the door open. The yard was littered with bodies. 3 men down. The cabin was burning, flames crawling up the walls, eating through the roof. And in the middle of it all, Aean stood facing Clyde. Both of them bleeding. Both of them holding guns. "You killed my men," Clyde spat. "You tried to burn me alive." Aean's voice was cold. Dead. "Second time someone's tried that. I didn't like it the first time either." "That girl's mine." "No, she's not." "I'll kill you for this." "You can try." They fired at the same time. Clyde's shot went wide. Aean's didn't. Clyde dropped, clutching his stomach, blood pouring through his fingers. Aean walked over, stood above him. "She was never yours," he said quietly, "and she never will be." Clyde tried to say something, choked on blood, and went still. Iris ran out of the barn, across the yard, threw herself at Aean. "You're alive! Oh God, you're alive!" Aean caught her, held her tight. "I'm okay. I'm okay." "You're bleeding." "Flesh wound. I'll live." Iris pulled back, looked at him. Blood on his face. Blood on his shirt. But his eyes were clear. "Is it over?" she whispered. "Yeah, it's over." Behind them, the cabin collapsed in on itself, sending sparks spiraling into the night sky. Everything Aean owned. Gone. He stared at the flames, his face unreadable. "I'm sorry," Iris said. "This is my fault." "No, it's his." Aean nodded toward Clyde's body. "He made his choice. Now he's dead, and we're alive. That's all that matters." "What do we do now?" Aean looked down at her. "We rebuild." Dawn came cold and gray. Sheriff Avery arrived with 2 deputies, surveyed the bodies, the burned cabin, the blood-soaked dirt. "Hell of a night," he said. "Yeah." Aean was sitting on a barrel outside the barn, Iris beside him, both of them wrapped in horse blankets. Avery walked over. "You want to tell me what happened?" "Clyde Marine came to take back the girl I bought from him. I said no. He tried to burn us out. I stopped him." "You killed 4 men." "Self-defense." Avery studied him, then nodded. "That's what I'll write in my report. Far as I'm concerned, Marin got what he deserved." "Thank you, Sheriff." Avery looked at Iris. "You all right, miss?" Iris nodded, though she wasn't sure it was true. "You planning to stay here?" Avery asked Aean. "This is my land. I'm not leaving." "Then you'll need help rebuilding. I'll send word around. Folks'll come." "I can pay." "Didn't ask if you could pay. Asked if you needed help." Avery tipped his hat. "Take care of yourself, Thorne. And the girl." He left with his deputies, taking the bodies with them. Iris and Aean sat in silence, watching the sun climb higher. "You killed a man last night," Aean said quietly. Iris looked down at her hands. They were still shaking. "I know." "How do you feel?" "I don't know. Sick, scared, relieved." She met his eyes. "Does that make me a bad person?" "No, it makes you human." "Have you ever killed someone?" "Yeah, during the war, and last night." He was quiet for a moment. "It doesn't get easier. You just learn to carry it." "I don't want to carry it." "I know, but you will, because you're stronger than you think." Iris leaned against him, exhausted. I don't feel strong. You ran into a storm to find me. You shot a man to save yourself. You survived being traded like livestock. Aean put his arm around her. You're the strongest person I know. Iris closed her eyes, let his words sink in. Maybe he was right. Maybe she was stronger than she thought. The next 3 days were a blur. People came from town, farmers, shopkeepers, even the saloon owner, bringing lumbernails tools. They worked from sunup to sundown, rebuilding the cabin from the ashes. Mara came too, bringing food and medicine. She cleaned Aean's wounds, checked Iris for injuries, sat with her when the nightmares came. You're going to be all right, Mara said, holding Iris's hand. It takes time, but you'll heal. I killed someone. I know, and you'll carry that. But it doesn't define you. You hear me. What defines you is what you do next. What do I do next? You live. You love. You build something worth keeping. Iris thought about that. About the cabin rising from the ashes. About Aean working beside the men, his shirt soaked with sweat, his face set with determination. About the life they were building together. Yeah, she said quietly. I think I can do that. A week after the fire, the cabin was finished. It wasn't much smaller than before, rougher, but it was solid, safe, home. That night, Iris cooked supper in the new kitchen while Aean finished boarding up the windows. They'd replaced the furniture, restocked the shelves, hung new curtains. It almost felt normal. Except for the nightmares. Except for the way Iris jumped every time she heard hoofbeats. Except for the way Aean kept the shotgun loaded by the door. They didn't talk about it. At supper, Aean said, I've been thinking. About what? About you. About us. He set down his fork. You don't owe me anything, Iris. You know that, right? You're free to leave any time you want. Iris's heart skipped. Do you want me to leave? No, hell no. But I need you to know you have a choice. I choose to stay. Why? Iris looked at him. This man who'd fought for her, killed for her, rebuilt his life around her. Because I don't want to be anywhere else. Aean's throat worked. Iris, I know what you're going to say. That I'm too young. That I don't know what I want. That I'm just grateful, and I'm confusing gratitude with... That's not what I was going to say. She stopped. What were you going to say? Aean stood, came around the table, knelt in front of her. I was going to say that you're the bravest person I've ever met. That you make me want to be better. That I haven't felt this alive since before the fire. He took her hands. And that I'm falling in love with you. Iris's breath caught. You don't have to say it back, Aean said quickly. I just needed you to know. Aean, it's okay. I know I'm older. I know I'm broken. I know. Iris kissed him. It was clumsy, desperate, perfect. When they pulled apart, Aean was staring at her like she'd just set the world on fire. I love you too, Iris whispered. I think I have for a while now. You sure? I'm sure. Aean cupped her face in his hands, kissed her again, slower this time, deeper. When they finally broke apart, he rested his forehead against hers. I was traded for a horse, Iris said, laughing through tears. And I ended up here, with you. Best trade I ever made. You already said that. I'll keep saying it until you believe it. I believe it. They held each other in the flickering firelight, two broken people who'd found something whole. 2 weeks later, Iris realized she'd missed her monthly bleed. At first she didn't think much of it. Stress could do that. Fear. Exhaustion. But when another week passed, and still nothing, she started to worry. She went to find Mara. The healer took one look at her face and knew. You think you're pregnant. Iris nodded, unable to speak. Mara examined her gentle thorough, then sat back. How long since your last bleed? 5 weeks, maybe 6. Any sickness? Tenderness? A little, in the mornings. Mara was quiet for a moment. Then she smiled. Congratulations, girl. You're carrying a child. The world tilted. Iris sat down hard, her head spinning. Pregnant. She was pregnant. You all right? Mara asked. I don't know. Iris's voice came out shaky. I don't know if I'm ready for this. Nobody's ever ready, but you'll manage, and you've got Aean. He'll be a good father. What if he doesn't want it? Then he's a fool, but I don't think he is. Iris put her hand on her stomach, feeling nothing yet, but knowing something was there. A life, growing inside her and Aean's. What do I do? She whispered. You tell him, and then you start building a life for this baby. Iris nodded, still dazed. She was going to be a mother. That night, she waited until after supper to tell him. They were sitting on the porch watching the stars come out when she said, I need to tell you something. Aean looked at her. What's wrong? Nothing's wrong. At least I don't think it is. She took a breath. I'm pregnant. Aeon froze. What? I'm pregnant. Mara confirmed it today. About 6 weeks. He stared at her, his face unreadable. Iris's heart sank. You're angry. No, I'm not angry. He stood, ran his hands through his hair. I wasn't expecting. He stopped, looked at her. Are you sure? Mara's sure. Aean sat back down, took her hands. How do you feel about it? Scared, excited, terrified. She laughed shakily. All of it at once. Me too. You're not upset. Upset. Aean pulled her into his arms. Iris, I thought I'd never have another child. I thought that part of my life was over. And now... His voice broke. Now you're giving me a second chance. Iris started crying. Relief, joy, fear, everything pouring out at once. I don't know how to be a mother. I didn't know how to be a father the first time either. But I learned. We'll learn together. What if something goes wrong? What if I lose it? Then we'll face it together. But right now, today, we have this, and that's enough. Iris pulled back, looked at him through tears. You really want this? More than anything. Even though I was traded for a horse, Aean smiled genuine warm, especially because of that. They sat there holding each other while the stars wheeled overhead and the wind whispered through the grass. 2 broken people, 1 new life, and the beginning of something worth fighting for. The next morning, Aean started building a cradle. He worked in the barn, carving each piece by hand, sanding it smooth. Iris watched him amazed at the care he took. It's beautiful, she said. Not done yet. He held up a piece, checking for flaws. Needs to be perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect. Yes, it does. He looked at her. This is for our child. It has to be perfect. Iris's heart swelled. Our child. She'd never heard anything more beautiful. Over the next few weeks, word spread through Red Hollow. People started bringing gifts, blankets, clothes, toys. Even Sheriff Avery stopped by with a hand-carved rattle. For the baby, he said gruffly. My wife made it. She wanted me to tell you congratulations. Thank you, Sheriff. And Thorne, you're a good man. Don't let anyone tell you different. After he left, Iris turned to Aean. People care about you. People care about you, he corrected. They're just being polite to me. I don't think that's true. Maybe not, but I don't care. As long as I have you and this baby, I don't need anything else. Iris wrapped her arms around him, pressed her face against his chest. I love you, she whispered. I love you too. They stood there in the doorway of their rebuilt cabin, The sun setting over the plains, the future stretching out before them. Unknown, uncertain, beautiful. And for the first time in her life, Iris wasn't afraid. She'd been traded for a horse, but she'd found something worth more than gold. She'd found home. Winter came early that year. By November, snow was already piling up against the cabin walls, and Iris's belly had started to show. Not much, just a small curve beneath her dress, but enough that Aean couldn't stop staring at it. "You're going to wear a hole through my stomach if you keep looking at it like that," Iris said one morning, kneading bread dough at the table. Aean glanced up from oiling his boots, caught. "Can't help it. It's just a baby. It's our baby." He set the boots aside, came over, put his hand on her stomach. "Can you feel anything yet?" "Not really. Maybe little flutters. I'm not sure if it's the baby or just gas." Aean laughed. "Romantic. You asked." He kissed the top of her head, went back to his boots. Outside, the wind howled against the shutters. They'd stocked up on firewood, salted meat, dried beans. Enough to last through the worst of winter. But supplies weren't what worried Iris. "What if something goes wrong?" she asked quietly. Aean looked up. "Nothing's going to go wrong. You don't know that. Women die in childbirth all the time out here. Babies die. What if—" "Iris." He came back over, took her flour-dusted hands in his. "Look at me. Nothing is going to happen to you. Nothing is going to happen to our baby. Mara's going to be here. I'm going to be here. You're going to be fine." "How do you know?" "Because I won't let it be any other way." Iris wanted to believe him, but fear had teeth and it wouldn't let go. That night, she woke up gasping, her nightgown soaked with sweat. Aean was beside her instantly. "What's wrong?" "Is it the baby?" "No, just a dream." "About what?" Iris shook her head, but the words came anyway. "I dreamed I was back with Clyde. That none of this was real. That I was still his property and you'd never bought me. And I was alone and—" She couldn't finish, couldn't breathe. Aean pulled her against him, holding tight. "You're here. With me. Clyde's dead. He can't hurt you anymore." I know that. But sometimes I wake up and I have to touch you to make sure you're real." "I'm real. This is real." He pressed her hand against his chest over his heart. "Feel that? That's real." Iris closed her eyes, let his heartbeat steady hers. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "Don't be. You've got nothing to be sorry for." They lay there until her breathing evened out, until sleep pulled her back under. But Aean stayed awake, staring at the ceiling, wondering how long it would take before the nightmares stopped. Wondering if they ever would. December brought heavier snow and longer nights. Iris's belly grew rounder. Her back ached. Her feet swelled. She couldn't sleep on her stomach anymore, couldn't bend over without getting dizzy. And she was hungry. Always hungry. "I don't understand," she said one evening, eating her third helping of stew. "Where is all this food going?" "The baby," Aean said, amused. "You're eating for 2 now?" "Feels like I'm eating for 5. "Good. Keep eating. You need your strength." Iris set down her spoon, suddenly serious. "Have you thought about names?" Aean paused. "Some." "Tell me." "If it's a boy, I was thinking Daniel, after my son." Iris reached across the table, squeezed his hand. "I think that's perfect." "And if it's a girl?" "Hope," Iris said softly. "We should name her Hope." Aean's throat worked. Why Hope? Because that's what this baby is. Hope that we can have a future. Hope that we can be more than what we were. Hope that love is real and it's worth fighting for. Aean came around the table, knelt beside her chair, put his hands on her belly. "Hope," he repeated. "Yeah, I like that." Iris ran her fingers through his hair. So we're agreed, Daniel. If it's a boy? Hope if it's a girl. We're agreed. The baby kicked. Iris gasped. Did you feel that? What? The baby. It kicked. She grabbed his hand, pressed it against the spot. Wait. There. Did you feel it? Aean's eyes went wide. I felt it. They sat there frozen, waiting for another kick. It came stronger this time. Aean laughed a sound of pure joy. Hello in there. I'm your father. Another kick. I think the baby likes your voice, Iris said. Or it's telling me to shut up. No, keep talking. So he did. He talked to Iris's belly about the farm, about the horses, about all the things he was going to teach their child. How to ride, how to fish, how to tell good wood from bad. And the baby kept kicking like it was listening to every word. Iris had never felt so full of love, she thought she might burst from it. Christmas came quiet. Aean cut down a small pine tree, set it up in the corner. Iris strung popcorn and dried berries, hung them from the branches. It wasn't much, but it was theirs. On Christmas morning, Aean handed her a small package wrapped in brown paper. What's this? Open it. Inside was a wooden carving, a mother holding a baby. The detail was incredible. You could see the mother's smile. The baby's tiny fingers curled around her thumb. You made this, Iris whispered. Started it the day you told me you were pregnant. Finished it last night. Iris traced the carving with her finger, tears streaming down her face. It's beautiful. You're beautiful. She kissed him, soft, deep, grateful. I didn't get you anything, she said. You're giving me a child. That's enough. Still, I should have. Iris. He put his hand on her belly. This is all I want. You, the baby, this life we're building. I don't need anything else. Iris leaned into him, the carving clutched to her chest. I love you, she said. I love you too. Outside, snow fell soft and silent, blanketing the world in white. Inside, the fire crackled. The tree glowed. And two people who'd found each other in the darkest of places held tight to the light they'd made together. January was brutal. The temperature dropped so low that water froze in the buckets overnight. The horses had to be brought into the barn. The chickens huddled together for warmth. And Iris got sick. It started with a cough, then a fever, then chills so violent her teeth chattered. Aean wrapped her in every blanket they had fed her hot broth, pressed cold cloths to her forehead. I need to get Mara, he said. You can't. The roads are snowed in. I don't care. You need help. I'll be fine. It's just a cold. But it wasn't just a cold. By that night, Iris was delirious, burning up, calling out for her mother, who'd been dead for years. Aean saddled his horse in the dark, rode through a blizzard to fetch Mara. He found her 3 hours later, brought her back half frozen. Mara took one look at Iris and her face went grim. How long has she been like this? Since yesterday. Is it the baby? Is the baby? The baby's fine, but she's got pneumonia. Bad. Mara started pulling herbs and tinctures from her bag. We need to break this fever or we're going to lose her. Aean's world tilted. No, you're not going to lose her. Tell me what to do. Boil water, lots of it, and pray. The next 2 days were hell. Iris drifted in and out of consciousness. Sometimes she knew where she was. Sometimes she thought she was back with Clyde, begging him not to hurt her. Aean stayed by her side, forcing medicine down her throat, bathing her with cool water, talking to her even when she didn't respond. You're not leaving me, he said over and over. You hear me, Iris? You're not leaving me. Not now. Not ever. We're supposed to raise this baby together. You promised. On the 3rd day, the fever broke. Iris opened her eyes, clear-focused, and saw Aean slumped in the chair beside the bed, his face haggard, his eyes red. Aean! His head snapped up. Iris! Oh God, Iris! He grabbed her hand, pressed it to his face. I thought I was going to lose you. I'm okay. I'm okay now. You scared the hell out of me. I'm sorry. Don't apologize. Just don't get sick again. Iris laughed weakly. I'll try. Mara came over, checked her pulse. Her breathing put her hand on Iris's belly. Baby's strong, she said. Heartbeat's good. You're both going to be fine. Iris closed her eyes, relief washing over her. Thank you. Thank your husband. He's the one who rode through a blizzard to get me. Iris looked at Aean. You did that. Of course I did. You could have died. So could you. I wasn't going to let that happen. Iris pulled him down, kissed him. You're an idiot. You're idiot. Yeah, mine. Mara cleared her throat. I'll give you two some privacy. But Iris, no getting out of bed for at least a week. You need rest. I will, I promise. After Mara left, Aean climbed into bed beside Iris, pulled her carefully against him. Don't ever do that to me again, he said. I'll do my best. I'm serious. I can't lose you. You won't. I'm not going anywhere. They lay there together, listening to the wind outside the fire, crackling the steady rhythm of each other's breathing. Alive. Together. Safe. By February, Iris was enormous. Her belly had grown so big she couldn't see her feet. She waddled when she walked. Her back hurt constantly, and she was done being pregnant. I feel like a cow, she complained one morning. Aean looked up from fixing the fence. You look beautiful. Liar. I'm serious. You're glowing. That's sweat. He laughed, came over, kissed her. Only 2 more months. 2 months feels like forever. It'll go fast. Easy for you to say. You're not the one carrying a human inside you. True, but I am the one who has to listen to you complain about it. Iris swatted him. Ass. Your ass. Despite herself, she smiled. Yeah, my ass. That night, lying in bed, Iris felt the baby shift. Aean. The baby's moving. A lot. He put his hand on her belly, felt the rolling, tumbling movement. Active little thing. That's one way to put it. Iris winced. I think it's trying to kick its way out. Not yet, baby, Aean said to her stomach. You stay in there a little longer. The baby kicked hard right where his hand was. I don't think it's listening to you. Stubborn, like its mother, or its father. They lay there in the dark, feeling their child move, both of them thinking the same thing. Soon, very soon, their lives would change forever, and neither of them could wait. March brought thawing snow and longer days. Iris was miserable. Her ankles were swollen. She couldn't sleep. She had to pee every 10 minutes, and she was terrified. What if I'm not a good mother? She asked Mara during one of the healer's visits. You'll be a wonderful mother. How do you know? Because you care enough to worry about it. Bad mothers don't worry. What if something goes wrong during the birth? Then I'll be here to fix it. What if you can't? Mara took Iris's hands. Listen to me. I've delivered more babies than I can count. And yes, sometimes things go wrong. But most of the time, mother and baby come through just fine. You're young, you're healthy, you're strong. You're going to be okay. Promise. I can't promise, but I can tell you I'll do everything in my power to make sure you and this baby survive. It wasn't the reassurance Iris wanted, but it was the truth, and she appreciated that. That night she told Aean about her fears. He listened without interrupting, then said, I'm scared too. Iris looked at him surprised. You are terrified. What if I'm not a good father? What if I can't protect you? What if... He stopped, his voice breaking. What if I lose you the way I lost Sarah? You won't. You can't know that. Neither can you. But we can't live our lives afraid of what might happen. We just have to trust that we'll get through it together. Aean pulled her close. When did you get so wise? I had a good teacher. They held each other, two terrified people, trying to be brave for each other. Outside, the wind whispered through the new grass. Spring was coming. And with it, new life. On March 28th, Iris's water broke. She was hanging laundry when it happened, a sudden gush of warm liquid down her legs. She stood there for a moment, staring down at herself, not quite believing it. Then the first contraction hit. Aean! She screamed. He came running from the barn, saw her, doubled over, and went white. Is it? The baby's coming. Now. Yes, now. Aean scooped her up, carried her into the house, laid her on the bed. I'll get Mara. Don't leave me. I have to. Please don't leave me. Another contraction. Iris cried out, gripping the sheets. Aean made a decision. All right, I'm staying, but I need you to tell me what to do. I don't know what to do. This is my first baby. Okay, we'll figure it out. He ran to the door, shouted for the nearest neighbor, a farmer a mile down the road, to fetch Mara. Then he came back to Iris. How far apart are the contractions? I don't know. Close. How close? Close. Aean grabbed towels, water blankets. His hands were shaking, but his voice stayed calm. You're doing great. I'm not doing anything yet. You're breathing. That's something. Another contraction. Stronger this time. Iris screamed. I can't do this. Yes, you can. I can't. I'm not strong enough. You're the strongest person I know. I'm scared. Me too. He took her hand. But we're doing this together. Iris squeezed his hand so hard she thought she might break it. The contractions came faster, harder, longer. Time lost all meaning. There was only pain in Aean's voice and the overwhelming need to push. I have to push. Not yet. Wait for Mara. I can't wait. Iris. The baby's coming now. Aean looked between her legs, saw the top of the baby's head, and his training from watching Daniel's birth kicked in. Okay. When the next contraction comes, push. What if I do it wrong? You won't. Just push. The contraction came. Iris pushed, screamed, pushed harder. I can see the head. Keep going. Another push, another scream. That's it. One more. Come on, Iris. One more. Iris gathered every ounce of strength she had left and pushed. And suddenly, there was crying. Loud, angry, beautiful crying. Aean caught the baby, wrapped it in a towel, held it up. It's a girl, he said, his voice breaking. We have a daughter. Iris sobbed, reaching for her. Aean laid the baby on her chest. She was tiny, red, covered in blood and fluid. Perfect. Hope, Iris whispered. Her name is Hope. Aean leaned down, kissed Iris's forehead, then Hope's. Hello, Hope. Welcome to the world. The door burst open. Mara rushed in, took one look at the scene, and started laughing. Well, looks like you didn't need me after all. We always need you, Aean said. Mara came over, checked the baby, checked. Iris nodded. You both did good. Real good. She helped deliver the afterbirth, cleaned Iris up, swaddled Hope properly. Then she stepped back, let the new parents have their moment. Iris looked down at her daughter, this tiny person she and Aean had made together, and felt something shift inside her. She'd been traded for a horse. She'd been beaten, starved, treated like property. But now she was a mother, and her daughter would never know that pain. She's beautiful, Iris whispered. She looks like you, Aean said. She has your eyes. How can you tell her eyes are closed? I can just tell. Hope yawned, opened her eyes gray like storm clouds, and looked up at her parents. Aean made a sound halfway between a laugh and a sob. Hey there, little one. I'm your father, and this is your mother, and we love you more than you'll ever know. Hope blinked, made a small sound, closed her eyes again. And just like that, she was asleep. Iris looked at Aean. We did it. Yeah, we did. I'm terrified. Me too. But we'll figure it out, right? Right. They sat there together, holding their daughter, watching her breathe. Outside, the sun was rising. Spring was here, and a new life had begun. A life built not on what they'd lost, but on what they'd found. Each other, hope, home, and love strong enough to weather any storm. The first night with Hope was the longest night of Iris's life. The baby cried every 2 hours, sometimes more. Iris fed her, changed her, rocked her, sang to her. Nothing worked for long. By dawn, Iris was exhausted. Her breasts sore, her body aching from the birth. Aean took Hope from her arms. Sleep, I've got her. You need to sleep too. I'll sleep later. You just pushed a human out of your body. You need rest more than I do. Iris was too tired to argue. She lay down, closed her eyes, and was asleep in seconds. She woke hours later to sunlight streaming through the window and the sound of Aean's voice. See that? That's a bird. And over there, that's the barn where the horses live. You'll learn to ride someday. I'll teach you, just like I taught your brother. Iris's chest tightened. Your brother, Daniel, the son he'd lost. She sat up, carefully wincing at the pain. Everything hurt. Her body felt like it had been torn apart and poorly stitched back together. Aean turned, saw her awake. Hey, how do you feel? Like I got trampled by a horse. That's normal, Mara said. It'll get better. When? Few weeks. Weeks. Iris groaned. I can't do this for weeks. You can. You're tougher than you think. He brought Hope over, laid her in Iris's arms. She's been perfect. Slept for 3 hours straight. Iris looked down at her daughter, this tiny person who'd turned her entire world upside down in less than 24 hours. I don't know what I'm doing, she whispered. Neither do I, but we'll figure it out. What if I'm a terrible mother? You won't be. You don't know that. Aean sat beside her on the bed. Listen to me. You survived being sold by your own uncle. You survived a gunfight. You survived pneumonia while pregnant. You delivered a baby with just me helping. If you can do all that, you can handle being a mother. Iris wanted to believe him, but doubt had roots that ran deep. Hope started fussing. Iris fumbled with her dress, trying to get the baby to latch. It took several attempts, both of them getting frustrated, before Hope finally started nursing. There you go, Aean said softly. You're doing it. Barely. It'll get easier. Iris wasn't sure she believed that either, but she didn't have the energy to argue. The next few weeks were a blur of sleepless nights and endless crying. Hope had colic. She screamed for hours, her face red, her little fists clenched. Nothing helped. Not rocking, not singing, not walking the floor, until Iris's feet went numb. Mara came by every few days, showed Iris different positions to hold the baby, different ways to soothe her. Some worked for a while, most didn't. Is this normal? Iris asked, her voice breaking. Does every baby cry this much? Some do. She'll grow out of it. When? Month or two. Iris wanted to cry. A month or two felt like forever. One night, around 3 a.m, Iris sat in the rocking chair holding Hope, tears streaming down her face. Please stop crying, she begged. Please, I don't know what you want. I've fed you, changed, you rocked you. What else do you need? Hope just screamed louder. Aean came downstairs, took the baby from her arms. Go to bed. I can't leave you with her. You have to work in the morning. I can work tired. You can't survive on 2 hours of sleep a night. Neither can you. Iris, go to bed. She was too exhausted to fight. She climbed the ladder to the loft, collapsed on the bed, and was asleep before her head hit the pillow. When she woke, the sun was high. She sat up, panicked. Hope, Aean. She climbed down the ladder. Aean was at the table, Hope asleep in his arms, both of them peaceful. How long have I been asleep? 6 hours. 6. Why didn't you wake me? Because you needed the rest. He looked up at her, and she saw how tired he was. Dark circles under his eyes, shoulders, slumped face drawn. She finally settled around 5. Been asleep since. Iris came over, touched his face. You look exhausted. I'm fine. You're not fine. You need sleep too. I'll sleep tonight. Aean, I said I'm fine. His voice came out sharper than he meant. He took a breath, softened. Sorry, I'm just tired. I know, me too. She took Hope from his arms, held her close. The baby stirred but didn't wake. Thank you, Iris said quietly. For letting me sleep. You don't have to thank me. We're in this together. I know, but still. Thank you. Aean stood stretched. I need to check on the horses. You going to be okay? Yeah, go. After he left, Iris sat in the rocking chair holding Hope, staring at this tiny person who'd completely upended her life. You're lucky you're cute, she whispered, because you're a lot of work. Hope yawned, snuggled closer. And despite everything, the exhaustion, the pain, the fear, Iris smiled. By the time Hope was 6 weeks old, things had started to settle into a rhythm. The colic eased. The crying decreased. Hope started sleeping for longer stretches at night. Iris started feeling more like herself. Her body healed. She could walk without pain, could pick things up without wincing. And she and Aean started talking again. Real conversations, not just exhausted exchanges about feeding schedules and dirty diapers. One evening after Hope had fallen asleep, they sat on the porch watching the sunset. I forgot what quiet sounded like, Iris said. Aean laughed. Me too. Is it always this hard, being a parent? It gets easier in some ways, harder in others. That's not very reassuring. Wasn't meant to be. I'm just being honest. Iris leaned against him. Tell me about Daniel. What was he like? Aean was quiet for a long moment. Then, he was fearless, climbed everything, jumped off everything, gave Sarah and me heart attacks daily. Sounds exhausting. It was. But it was also amazing. He laughed all the time, found joy in everything. A butterfly, a puddle, a piece of string. Everything was an adventure. Do you see him in Hope? Sometimes. In the way she looks at me, like she's trying to figure out who I am. His voice cracked. I wish he could have met her. Me too. They sat in silence for a while. Then Aean said, I used to think I didn't deserve a second chance. After the fire, after losing them. I thought that was my punishment for not saving them. It wasn't your fault. I know. In my head I know. But in here, he tapped his chest. It's harder to believe. Do you still feel that way? Sometimes. But then I look at Hope and I think maybe I didn't deserve it, but I got it anyway, and I'm not going to waste it. Iris took his hand, laced their fingers together. You're a good father, and a good man. You make me want to be. You already are. Aean kissed her soft, lingering. When they pulled apart, he said, I love you. You know that, right? I know. I love you too. Even when I'm grumpy from lack of sleep. Especially then. He laughed, pulled her closer. Inside, Hope started crying. Iris sighed. I'll get her. No, I will. You stay here. Enjoy the quiet while it lasts. He went inside. Iris stayed on the porch, watching the last of the sun disappear behind the hills. She'd been traded for a horse, sold by her own blood, left with nothing. But somehow she'd ended up here, with a man who loved her, a daughter who needed her, a life worth living. It wasn't the life she'd imagined. It was better. Summer came hot and dry. Hope was 4 months old, growing fast. her gray eyes always watching, always curious. Iris was teaching her to grab things. Rattles, spoons, anything within reach. Hope's favorite game was dropping things and watching someone pick them up. "She's going to be trouble," Mara said, watching Hope throw a wooden block for the 10th time. "She already is," Iris said, picking up the block and handing it back. Hope immediately threw it again, giggling. "She's got your stubbornness. And Aean's determination. Poor girl doesn't stand a chance." Iris laughed. It felt good to laugh. She'd been doing more of that lately. One afternoon, Aean came in from the fields covered in dust and sweat and scooped Hope out of her cradle. "There's my girl. You been helping your mama." Hope cooed, grabbed his nose. "Ow. Yes, I know. My nose. Fascinating." Iris watched them together, her heart full. Aean had taken to fatherhood like he'd been born for it. He was patient, gentle, loving, everything a father should be. "What?" he asked, catching her staring. "Nothing. Just watching." "You're getting sappy." "Maybe. I like it." That night after Hope was asleep, they finally had time to themselves. Real time. Not just exhausted collapse into bedtime. Aean pulled Iris close, kissed her neck. "I've missed you. I've been right here." "You know what I mean." Iris did. They hadn't been intimate since before Hope was born. Between the healing and the exhaustion, and the baby always needing something, there hadn't been time. But tonight, Hope was sound asleep, and they were alone. "Are you sure you're ready?" Aean asked. "Mara said to wait at least 6 weeks. It's been almost 5 months." "I know, but I don't want to hurt you." "You won't." "Iris." She kissed him, silencing his protests. They took it slow, careful, gentle. And for the first time in months, Iris felt like herself again. Not just a mother. Not just someone's wife. Herself. Afterward, they lay tangled together, breathing hard. "That was..." Aean started. "Yeah. We should do that more often." "We should," Hope cried out. They both groaned. "I'll get her," Iris said. "No, stay. I've got it." Aean climbed out of bed, picked up Hope, changed her, brought her back to bed with them. The baby settled between them, content. "This wasn't exactly how I planned the rest of the evening," Aean said. "Welcome to parenthood." "Worth it, though." Iris looked at him across their daughter. "Yeah, worth it." By fall, Hope was sitting up on her own, babbling, constantly eating mashed vegetables with more enthusiasm than skill. She had Iris's dark hair and Aean's gray eyes and a personality that was entirely her own. Stubborn, curious, fearless. One morning, Iris found her trying to pull herself up on the furniture. "Oh no, you're not ready for that yet." Hope ignored her, kept trying. "She's going to be walking before we know it," Aean said. "Don't say that. I'm not ready." "Nobody's ever ready. You sound like Mara." "I'll take that as a compliment." That afternoon, a rider came. Young man, maybe 18, wearing a deputy's badge. "Mr. Thorne. Mrs. Thorne." Iris came out of the cabin. Hope on her hip. "Can I help you?" "Ma'am." "I'm Deputy Carson. Sheriff Avery asked me to bring you this." He handed her an envelope. Iris took it, confused. "What is it?" "Legal papers, ma'am. About your uncle's estate." Iris's stomach dropped. "My uncle's dead." "What estate?" "He had a farm, some livestock, few other things. Since he had no other family, it all goes to you." "I don't want it." "Ma'am, it's worth a fair bit. Sheriff thought you should know." Iris looked at Aean. He came over, took the envelope, read it. "It's legit. Farm's about 30 miles south of here. 50 acres. House, barn, animals." "I don't want anything from him." "I know. But maybe we should look at it before we decide." "Why?" So I can remember all the times he beat me, all the times he locked me in the cellar, all the times he told me I was worthless. Aean put his hand on her shoulder. Or so you can take something he never wanted you to have and make it yours. Turn it into something good. Iris hadn't thought of it that way. We could sell it. Aean continued. Use the money to expand our farm, or keep it, rent it out, whatever you want. I don't know what I want. Then we'll figure it out together. Iris looked at Deputy Carson. Thank you for bringing this. Yes, ma'am. Sheriff says if you want to see the property, just let him know. He'll go with you. After the deputy left, Iris stood there holding the envelope, not sure what to feel. You okay? Aean asked. I don't know. Part of me wants to burn it. Part of me wants to see what he had. Part of me just wants to forget he ever existed. All of those are valid. Which one should I choose? Whichever one feels right to you. Iris looked down at Hope, who was chewing on her fist. What do you think, baby? Should we go see what your great-uncle left behind? Hope babbled something incomprehensible. I think that's a yes, Aean said. You would. But despite her reservations, Iris was curious. What had Clyde built with the life he'd stolen from her? And could she take it back? 2 weeks later, they rode out to the farm. Sheriff Avery met them there, unlocked the house. It was exactly what Iris expected. Dirty, run down, smelling of whiskey and neglect. But the land was good. The barn was solid. The animals, what few remained, were healthy enough. Place has potential, Avery said. With some work. Iris walked through the house, memories flooding back. This was where her mother had died. This was where Clyde had locked her in the cellar for 2 days when she burned dinner. This was where he'd told her she was nothing but a burden. She wanted to burn it down. But then she thought about Hope, about the life they could build here. What if we fixed it up? She said suddenly. Sold our farm, moved here. Aean looked surprised. You want to live here? I want to take something he never meant me to have and make it mine. I want to prove that I'm more than what he said I was. Aean studied her face, then nodded. Then that's what we'll do. You're sure? I'm sure. Iris took a deep breath, looked around the broken-down house. All right, let's do it. The next 3 months were chaos. They worked on both farms, maintaining their old place while fixing up the new one. Aean repaired the roof, replaced broken windows, reinforced the barn. Iris cleaned, painted, made the house livable. Hope spent most days strapped to Iris's back, watching everything with wide eyes. By December, the new farm was ready. They sold the old place to a young couple just starting out. Loaded everything they owned into a wagon. Said goodbye to the cabin where they'd fallen in love, and moved into Iris's inheritance. It felt strange at first. Wrong. Like she was living in a haunted house. But slowly, they made it theirs. New furniture, new curtains, a new garden plot. And one day Iris woke up and realized she wasn't thinking about Clyde anymore. She was thinking about the future. Christmas morning. Hope took her first steps. She'd been cruising along the furniture for weeks, but that morning she let go and walked 3 whole steps before falling on her bottom. Iris gasped. Did you see that? I saw it. Aean scooped Hope up, tossed her in the air. Look at you, walking already. Hope giggled, delighted. She's growing up too fast, Iris said. They all do. I want her to stay little forever. I know, but she won't. None of them do. Iris heard the pain in his voice. Daniel. Always Daniel hovering in the background. She went to him, wrapped her arms around him, and Hope both. He'd be proud of you, she said quietly. Of the father you are to Hope. You think... I know. Aean kissed her forehead. Thank you. For what? For giving me this, for giving me her, for giving me a reason to keep going. You gave me the same thing." They stood there together, holding their daughter, the three of them a unit. A family. Built from ashes and pain, and a trade that should have destroyed them. But instead, it had saved them. That night, after Hope was asleep, Iris and Aean sat by the fire. "I've been thinking," Aeon said. "About what?" "About us. About making this official." Iris frowned. "What do you mean?" "I mean getting married. Properly. With a preacher and witnesses and everything." Iris's heart stuttered. "You want to marry me?" "I've wanted to marry you since the day you ran into that storm to find me. I just didn't know if you'd say yes." "Why wouldn't I say yes?" "Because technically, I bought you. And I didn't want you to feel obligated." Iris laughed. "You idiot. I love you. Of course I'll marry you." Yeah. Aean pulled a ring from his pocket. "Simple gold band, nothing fancy. It was my mother's. I want you to have it." Iris's eyes filled with tears. "Aean. Will you marry me, Iris? Will you be my wife officially in front of God and everyone?" "Yes. Yes. 1,000 times. Yes." He slid the ring onto her finger. It fit perfectly. They kissed deep and slow, sealing the promise. When they pulled apart, Aean said, "We'll do it in the spring. Give people time to travel. Make it a real celebration." "I don't need a celebration. I just need you." "I know. But I want everyone to know you're mine. And I'm yours." "I like the sound of that." "Me too." They sat there, hands clasped, rings gleaming in the firelight. Two people who'd found each other in the darkest of places. Two people who'd built something beautiful from the ruins of their pasts. Two people who'd learned that love wasn't about what you paid for someone. It was about what you were willing to give. And they'd given each other everything. Spring came with wildflowers and warm winds. Iris stood in front of the mirror, adjusting the white dress Mara had helped her sew. It was simple cotton with lace at the collar, but it made her feel beautiful. Hope toddled over, grabbed at the hem. "Mama, pretty." "Thank you, baby." Iris picked her up, kissed her cheek. "You ready to see Daddy get married?" "Dada." Mara came in, took one look at Iris and smiled. "You look perfect." "I'm nervous." "That's normal." "What if I trip? What if I forget my vows? What if you just enjoy marrying the man you love?" Iris took a breath. "You're right." "I usually am." Mara adjusted Iris's hair, pinned a flower behind her ear. "There. Now you're ready." The ceremony was held outside beneath the cottonwood tree near the barn. Half of Red Hollow showed up, farmers, shopkeepers, even Sheriff Avery in his best suit. Aean stood at the front with the traveling preacher, looking nervous as hell, in clothes Iris had never seen him wear. His hair was combed back, his jaw freshly shaved. He looked handsome and terrified. When Iris walked toward him, hope in her arms, his face transformed. "You're beautiful," he mouthed. Iris smiled, felt tears start already. The preacher cleared his throat. "Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today." Iris barely heard the words. She was too focused on Aean. On the way he was looking at her, like she was the only person in the world. "Do you, Aean Thorne, take this woman to be your lawfully wedded wife?" "I do." "And do you, Iris Vale, take this man to be your lawfully wedded husband?" "I do." "Then by the power vested in me, I now pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss your bride." Aean cupped her face, kissed her soft and slow. People cheered. Hope clapped, and Iris felt like her heart might burst. When they pulled apart, Aean whispered, "Hello, Mrs. Thorne?" "Hello, Mr. Thorne? I love you. I love you too." The celebration lasted well into the evening. Tables laden with food, music, dancing, laughter. Iris danced with Aean, with Hope between them, the three of them moving in a circle while people clapped and sang. "This is perfect," Iris said. "It is." "I never thought I'd have this." Neither did I. But we do. Yeah, we do. As the sun set and the guests started leaving, Mara pulled Iris aside. You did good, girl. Thank you. For everything. For saving me. For being there. That's what family does. You're family now. You know that, right? Mara's eyes got bright. I'd be honored. They hugged long and tight. When everyone was gone and Hope was asleep, Aean and Iris sat on the porch, exhausted and happy. That was a good day, Aean said. The best. You think we'll have more days like this? I hope so. Me too. They sat in comfortable silence, watching the stars come out. You know what I've been thinking about, Iris said. What? Having another baby. Aean looked at her surprised. Another one? Yeah. Hope needs a sibling. And I want more children, if you do. I do. I just didn't know if you were ready. I'm ready. Are you? Aean pulled her close. With you, I'm ready for anything. 6 months later, Iris was pregnant again. This time she knew what to expect. The exhaustion, the sickness, the fear mixed with excitement. Hope was 18 months old, running everywhere, getting into everything. Keeping up with her while pregnant was exhausting. Hope, no, Iris called as the toddler tried to climb onto the table. Get down. Hope ignored her, kept climbing. Aean scooped her up. Listen to your mama. No. Yes. Hope pouted but didn't fight. She's stubborn, Iris said. Wonder where she gets that. Definitely from you. Definitely from you. They both laughed. That night, lying in bed, Aean put his hand on Iris's growing belly. Boy or girl, you think? I don't know. What do you want? Healthy. That's all I want. Me too. The baby kicked. Aean's eyes lit up. There. Did you feel that? I feel everything this one does. Never stops moving. Active. Like Hope. God help us if we have two like Hope. We'll manage. Will we? We always do. Iris closed her eyes, let herself believe it. They would manage. They would survive. They would build a life together one day at a time. Because that's what they did. The pregnancy was harder the second time. Iris was older, 21 now, but her body remembered the trauma of Hope's birth. Every ache, every pain sent her spiraling into fear. What if something goes wrong? She asked Mara during one visit. What if it doesn't? That's not an answer. It's the only answer I've got. You can't live your life afraid of what might happen. I'm not afraid. I'm terrified. Mara took her hands. Listen to me. You survived the first birth. You'll survive this one. And I'll be here every step of the way. Promise. Promise. But fear had teeth and it wouldn't let go. One night around 7 months, Iris woke up bleeding. Not much, just spots. But enough to send panic racing through her. Aean. She shook him awake. Something's wrong. He was up instantly. What? What's wrong? I'm bleeding. His face went white. How much? Not a lot, but enough. I'm getting Mara. Don't leave me. I have to. Please. He pulled her close, his heart hammering against her ear. Okay, I'm here. I'm not leaving. They waited until dawn, both of them too scared to move. When the sun came up, Aean rode for Mara. She came immediately, examined Iris, her face serious. The baby's fine. Strong heartbeat. Good movement. Then why was I bleeding? Could be a lot of things. Sometimes it just happens. But you need to take it easy. No heavy lifting. No stress. Lots of rest. I have a toddler. Rest isn't an option. Then make it an option. Aean can handle Hope. You focus on keeping this baby safe. Iris nodded, but fear had settled in her chest and wouldn't leave. What if something was wrong? What if she lost this baby? What if she lost everything? Aean seemed to read her mind. Nothing's going to happen. You hear me? Nothing. You can't know that. I can. And I do. She wanted to believe him, but belief was harder than fear. The last 2 months crawled by. Iris spent most of her time resting, watching Aean chase Hope around the farm. He was patient, loving, exhausted. I should be helping, Iris said one afternoon. You are helping. You're growing our child. That's not the same. It's the most important thing. I feel useless. Aean sat beside her, took her hand. You're not useless. You're doing exactly what you need to do. And when this baby comes, you'll be right back to running everything. But right now, you rest. I hate resting. I know. I'm bored. I know that too. Tell me a story. What kind of story? Any story, something to distract me. So Aean told her about his childhood, about growing up on a farm in Missouri, about his parents, his siblings, the life he'd left behind when he came west. Why did you leave? Iris asked. Wanted adventure, wanted to make something of myself. He smiled sadly. Turns out adventure isn't all it's cracked up to be. You don't regret it, do you? Not for a second. If I hadn't left, I wouldn't have met Sarah, wouldn't have had Daniel, wouldn't have met you. You think things happen for a reason? I think we make our own reasons. But yeah, sometimes I think maybe we end up where we're supposed to be. Even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. Iris squeezed his hand. I'm glad I ended up here. With you. Me too. On a cold February morning, Iris went into labor. This time, Mara was there from the start, and this time Iris knew what to expect. It still hurt like hell. I forgot how much this hurts, she gasped between contractions. You said that last time too, Mara said. I meant it then, and I mean it now. Aean held her hand, let her squeeze until his fingers went numb. You're doing great. I'm dying. You're not dying. Feels like I'm dying. You said that last time too. Stop comparing this to last time. The labor was faster than with Hope. 4 hours instead of 12. And when the baby came red-faced and screaming, Mara held it up smiling. It's a boy. Iris started crying. A boy. A son. Aean stared at the baby, his face unreadable. Aean, Iris said softly. He blinked, tears streaming down his face. He looks just like Daniel. Does that bother you? No, it's perfect. He took the baby from Mara, held him carefully. Hello, son. I'm your father, and I promise, I swear, I will never let anything happen to you. Iris reached up, touched Aean's face. What should we name him? Daniel, if that's okay with you. It's more than okay. They named their son Daniel Thorne, and when Hope met her baby brother, she patted his head and said, Baby, mine. Yes, Iris said, your baby brother. Love baby. We all love baby. Life with 2 children was chaos. Hope was jealous at first, acting out, demanding attention. Daniel cried constantly. Iris was exhausted. Aean was stretched thin, trying to keep up with the farm and the family. But slowly they found their rhythm. Hope learned to be gentle with her brother. Daniel's crying decreased. Iris's body healed. And one morning, Iris woke up and realized she was happy. Truly, deeply happy. She had a husband who loved her, 2 healthy children, a farm that was thriving, a life that was hers. She'd been traded for a horse at 19, but she'd ended up with gold. One evening when Daniel was 6 months old and Hope was almost 3, Iris stood on the porch watching her family. Aean was in the yard, Hope on his shoulders, Daniel in his arms, both children laughing as he spun in circles. Mara came up beside her. You did good, girl. We did good. Look at you. From scared girl to strong woman. I'm proud of you. Thank you for everything. You would have made it without me. Maybe. But I'm glad I didn't have to. They stood together in comfortable silence. You ever think about that day? Mara asked. The day Clyde traded you. Sometimes, but not like I used to. How do you think about it now? Iris watched Aean set the children down, watched Hope chase after her father, watched Daniel reach for his sister. I think it was the worst thing that ever happened to me. And the best thing, because it brought me here, to them, to this life. She looked at Mara. Does that make sense? Perfect sense. I was so angry for so long, at Clyde, at the world, at myself for not fighting back. And now I'm just grateful, for surviving, for finding Aean, for getting to be their mother. Her voice caught, for learning what love really means. Mara squeezed her hand. You earned this happiness, Iris. Don't ever forget that. I won't. That night after the children were asleep, Iris and Aean sat by the fire. Do you ever think about the past? Iris asked. Sometimes. Not as much as I used to. Me neither. It's like it happened to someone else. In a way it did. We're not the same people we were. No, we're not. Aean pulled her close. I'm glad you stayed. That night in Red Hollow, when I said you could leave. I'm glad you stayed. Where else would I have gone? Anywhere. But you chose here. You chose me. Best choice I ever made. Second best. What was the first? Deciding to keep fighting. After everything. Deciding to keep living. Iris understood that. She'd made the same choice. You know what I've been thinking about, she said. What? Teaching Hope to read. Starting a school here, for the children in the valley. You want to be a teacher? I want to give kids what I never had. Education. Opportunity. A chance to be more than what they're born into. Aean smiled. Then let's do it. Really? Really. We'll build a schoolhouse, you'll teach, and our children will grow up knowing they can be anything they want. Iris kissed him deep and grateful. I love you. I love you too. The years passed. Hope grew into a bright, fearless girl who climbed trees and rode horses and asked a million questions. Daniel was quieter, thoughtful, always watching, always learning. Iris taught them both to read, to write, to think for themselves. And when other families heard about the lessons, they started sending their children too. Soon Iris had a proper school. 10 students, then 15, then 20. Aean built a small schoolhouse at the edge of their property. One room, wooden benches, a blackboard. It wasn't much, but it was enough. One afternoon, 5 years after their wedding, Iris stood in front of her class teaching arithmetic when she looked out the window and saw Aean watching. He smiled at her. She smiled back. Later, when the students had gone home and the children were playing outside, Aean came into the schoolhouse. You're amazing, he said. I'm just teaching. You're changing lives. These kids, they'll have opportunities we never had, because of you. Because of us. No, this was your dream. I just helped build it. Iris put down her chalk, went to him. Do you ever think about how we started? All the time. Do you regret it? Buying me? Never. Best decision I ever made. Even though it was wrong. I didn't buy you to own you. I bought you to free you. I know, but still. Iris. He cupped her face. You were never mine. You were always your own. I just gave you a place to figure that out. Tears filled her eyes. How did I get so lucky? We both got lucky. They held each other in the empty schoolhouse, sunlight streaming through the windows, their children's laughter drifting in from outside. Two broken people who'd found each other. Two broken people who'd healed each other. Two broken people who'd built something beautiful from the ashes of their pasts. On their 10th anniversary, Aean took Iris back to Red Hollow. They hadn't been back since the wedding. Too many memories. Too much pain. But now, a decade later, with 2 children and a life they'd built together, it felt different. They walked down the main street, past the general store, past the saloon, past the sheriff's office. Sheriff Avery was still there, older now, grayer. "Well, look who's back," he said, smiling. "The Thornes." "Sheriff," Aean said, shaking his hand. "Heard you've got quite the farm now, and a school. Iris is doing." "Heard that too. Town's proud of you both." "Thank you, Sheriff." After they left, Iris and Aean walked to the edge of town, to the spot where Clyde had traded her for a horse. It looked different now, smaller, less significant. "How do you feel?" Aean asked. "Okay, actually, like it happened to someone else." "It did. You're not that girl anymore." "No, I'm not." "Who are you now?" Iris thought about it. "I'm a wife, a mother, a teacher, a survivor." She looked at him. "I'm Iris Thorne, and I'm exactly who I'm supposed to be." Aean kissed her right there in the spot where their story began. "I was traded for a horse," Iris said when they pulled apart. "But I ended up with everything." "Best trade I ever made," Aean said. "You've said that before." "I'll keep saying it until the day I die." They walked back to their wagon hand in hand, past and present finally reconciled. Because love wasn't about what you paid for someone, it was about what you gave, and they'd given each other everything. Years later, when Hope was 16 and Daniel was 13, Iris stood on the porch watching her children help their father with the harvest. Hope was strong, capable, fearless. Daniel was thoughtful, kind, brilliant. They were everything she'd hoped they'd be. "Mama," Hope called. "Come help." "I'm coming." She walked toward them, toward her family, toward the life she'd built from nothing. She'd been sold at 19, traded for a horse like livestock, but she'd refused to stay broken. She'd fought. She'd survived. She'd loved. And in the end, she'd won. Not because someone rescued her, but because she rescued herself. With the help of a man who saw her worth when no one else did. With the help of children who gave her purpose. With the help of a community that became her family. She'd been traded for a horse. But she'd found something worth infinitely more. She'd found herself. And that was worth everything.